Good evening, I'm Glenda Chong, and tonight's top stories. The upcoming presidential election shaping up to be a three-cornered fight with three people qualifying as candidates to contest in the polls. Ng Kok Song, Tan Kin Lian and Tharman Shanmugaratnam all reacting to their eligibility, and each of them saying they hope to serve in the nation's highest office to build a brighter future for Singapore. The US to host leaders from Japan and South Korea as the three nations come together for their first ever standalone summit. Military threats from North Korea are set to top the agenda. And also tonight, a young table tennis team will be sent to the upcoming Asian Games in Hangzhou, China. All but one are debutantes. Three people have qualified to be candidates for the upcoming presidential election. They are former GIC Chief Investment Officer Ng Kok Song, former NTUC Income Insurance CEO Tan Kin Lian, and former Senior Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam. By certifying them as eligible, the Presidential Elections Committee finds each to be a person of integrity, good character and reputation. They also meet the relevant public or private sector service requirements. The committee notes Ng Kok Song was Group Chief Investment Officer of Singapore's Sovereign Wealth Fund for more than 3 years. It says Mr. Ng's performance in this position shows he has the experience and ability to effectively carry out the functions and duties of President. For Tan Kin Lian, the committee considered the size and complexity of NTUC Income Insurance and Mr. Tan's performance as its CEO for more than 3 years. It says this gives Mr. Tan experience and ability comparable to leading a typical company with at least $500 million in shareholders' equity. For Tharman Shanmugaratnam, the committee is satisfied he has met the public sector service requirement, having been a minister for 3 or more years. Well, it is the first time since 2011 that more than one person is eligible to run in the presidential election. So what's next? Tuesday is nomination day, and if only one of the three submits his forms on the day, he will become president. If there is a contest, Singapore will go to the polls on 1st September. The Elections Department says it rejected 3 applications. It won't publish its reasons so as not to dissuade future applicants. 10 community declarations were also rejected, and 2 of them did not apply for a certificate of eligibility. The other 8 were younger than 45 years old. Presidential hopeful Ng Kok Song says he will give his very best in his bid for the presidency. The former GIC Chief Investment Officer says he seeks to be of service and build a united Singapore. In a statement, Mr. Ng says he would like to honour the generations before him who built the strong foundation for Singapore and hopes that everyone will do their best for current and future generations to ensure that the country continues to thrive. Presidential hopeful Tan Kin Lian believes this year's election will be his time. He had contested the election in 2011 but lost his deposit after getting fewer than 5% of the votes. This time, he believes more than half of voters prefer to have a candidate perceived to be independent of the government.
The conditions in 2023 are more favorable to me because many people are struggling with high cost of living, high cost of housing, and also uncertainty of jobs. They want to see somebody who can change these circumstances.
During a visit to a market in Kovan earlier today, Mr. Tan also said he wants to gain the support of young people. He says older generations are more familiar with him, but not those under the age of 30. He wants to give them a brighter future, including being able to afford starting a family.
I hope to be able to influence the policies, influence the government to change some of its policies so that life can be better for the people. My goals are to reduce the cost of living, to make housing affordable, and to make jobs secure and pay well.
Presidential hopeful Tharman Shanmugaratnam says He's looking forward to the contest after receiving his certificate of eligibility this morning.
I hope it's a dignified contest in keeping with the dignity of the office itself. Encourage all the candidates to make a positive case for themselves because they each bring something that's of value to Singapore.
Mr. Tharman was speaking on the sidelines of an event by Cerebral Palsy Alliance Singapore. He adds that he's sorry George Goh didn't make the cut. Responding to a question on how this will affect his chances, Mr. Tharman says he's not making calculations based on who's contesting. Instead, he's running on his track record and purpose in life.
I only entered this race because I think things are changing, and the next phase of Singapore's development is going to require a different character to the presidency, and that's the reason why I entered this race. It's not for myself. It's not for myself.
Calling it a very sad day, presidential hopeful George Goh said he was very disappointed to be ruled ineligible to stand for the presidential election. He revealed that the PEC had rejected his reasoning that his experience in running his 5 companies was equivalent to that of a CEO running a single company. Speaking to the media, he insisted that his own legal and financial advisors had advised him that he would have been eligible.
This group of people are the top people in Singapore. Are you saying they are all wrong? Cannot be. They're all from the system. Because I knew the system. That's why I asked this good friend to come forward. Please help me to take a look what I'm going to submit. That's why I'm fairly confident I should be qualified. By so many professionals beside me, I still stand. I should be qualified.
Mr. Goh, who is the founder of Harvey Norman Australia, said the decision was shocking news for Singapore and it would deprive Singaporeans of a wider choice.
First, we have to respect what they have written there. To me, I cannot accept. Anyway, they have made a decision. I should be the one saying I cannot accept the decision given by them. I personally think it's not a fair decision.
One political analyst says the criteria for eligibility to be president are a proxy to gauge if a person can do the job. And in rejecting George Goh, it's clear the Presidential Elections Committee thinks running one larger company gives a different scale of experience and ability.
The scale and magnitude involved in running a $500 million company would be very different from running 10 $50 million company, by way of example. So I would say that, based on the known information, I don't think the outcome from the Presidential Elections Committee, was any great surprise.
With the 3 certified to be eligible to stand in Singapore's presidential election, the nation gears up to go to the polls. And here's what to expect from now till polling day, and that's on 1st September. So come next Tuesday, all presidential hopefuls must turn up in person at the nomination centre to submit their nomination papers and other documents. Nomination papers are to be signed by the prospective candidate, his proposer, seconder, and at least 4 assenters. If there's no objections and all papers are in order, the returning officer will announce the names of the nominated candidates around noon. The candidates will then address their supporters. And once confirmed, candidates can start campaigning and continue for the 9 days. They'll each get 2 blocks of 10 minutes of airtime across MediaCorp TV channels on the 24th and 30th of August. Rallies are not encouraged and there'll be no designated rally sites. Posters and banners may be hung along public roads but must abide by conditions of the returning officer. All election campaigning must stop for a cooling-off period of 24 hours. And this is to give voters time to reflect on issues and make a wise and rational decision when voting. On September 1st, 2.7 million Singaporeans will cast their votes. More than 1,200 polling stations will be set up to reduce waiting time for voters. This year, portable booths for nursing home residents and optional postal voting for overseas Singaporeans will be available. And still ahead on News Tonight, firefighters in Indonesia struggling to put out a peatland fire. It's growing larger and edging ever closer to a residential area. Plus, a call for more to be done to better protect car-sharing customers. We bring you through some of the recommendations made by the Consumers Association.
My Mitsubishi Electric StarMax aircon saves me energy and money. It's easy to clean and is so quiet.
Singapore's elected president.
Welcome back. The leaders of Japan, South Korea and the United States are set to cement a growing allegiance at their first standalone summit in the thick of an increasingly tense geopolitical arena. US President Joe Biden will host the summit at the Camp David Presidential Retreat in Maryland, about 100 kilometers from Washington, D.C. Now, it's a show of force by the allies in the face of China's assertiveness in the Asia-Pacific and North Korea's military threats. The centerpiece of the summit will reportedly be a pledge or a duty to consult each other in moments of crisis. It's a move that's significant for Seoul and Tokyo, which share a long, prickly history. The leaders will also seek ways to deepen cooperation in areas of economy, technology and security. Lim Yon-suk with more.
Well, North Korea is definitely going to top the agenda at this meeting, as it is expected to strengthen the trilateral security cooperation at a time when North Korea is increasing its military activities and raising the tensions here on the Korean Peninsula and also the region with its nuclear missile programs. Now, analysts here are saying that this meeting is meant to serve as a show of force among the three countries against the provocations by North Korea. And experts saying that this meeting alone, the fact that the three leaders are meeting, is sending a very strong message to North Korea, saying that if North Korea poses a threat to any one of us, then it poses a threat to all of us. And that's why the South Korean intelligence agency believes that North Korea could take some kind of provocative actions to show its disapproval of this trilateral summit and also the upcoming military drills between the United States and South Korea starting next week. Now, President Yoon Suk-yeol, in his speech to mark Liberation Day earlier this week, said this summit will set a new milestone in trilateral cooperation that will contribute to peace not just on the Korean Peninsula, but the Indo-Pacific region, which many analysts here are saying that they think that South Korea is from now on planning to play a greater role than before, together with the United States and Japan, to promote peace in the Indo-Pacific region following this trilateral meeting at Camp David.
Firefighters in Indonesia's Sumatra Island are trying to put out a peatland fire that's growing in size near a dense residential area. The number of homes at risk is not immediately clear. The blaze started in bushes and trees on Wednesday. The flames are now burning near a highway close to Palembang, the capital of South Sumatra. Efforts to control the fire have been hindered by limited firefighting equipment. And to make matters worse, the closest water source is a 1-hour trip away from the fire's location. There are now 105 properties linked to 10 foreign nationals arrested in a billion-dollar money laundering probe. This is up from the 94 initially announced. These properties include 7 detached bungalows in Sentosa Cove, 79 condominium units, and 19 commercial spaces. They are all issued with a prohibition of disposal order. The properties were valued at an estimated $831 million. The police say now the assets are owned by the people under investigation, their spouses or companies linked to them. Meanwhile, the Manpower Ministry says the 10 foreigners were holding employment and dependent passes. It adds that it will take the necessary action against them if serious offences are disclosed. This will be in consultation with the police and the Attorney General's chambers. Home Affairs Minister K. Shanmugam says it's crucial for Singapore to have the right legal framework for its police to be effective. He said if the laws don't give the police the powers they need to intervene when they need to, it is often too late. He cited examples from overseas, including the 2019 riots in Hong Kong. The laws there allowed protests, and the police could only take action when they turned violent. Mr. Shanmugam said laws that support social order and cohesion are important for Singapore.
The laws give the police the power to intervene very early. For example, unlike Hong Kong, here you can't have 10,000 people coming together. And you can't have 5 people coming together without a police permit. And so we are very strict. You want to protest, you go to Hong Lim.
Mr. Shanmugam was speaking at his ministry's Scholarship Awards ceremony. Among them were 2 Singapore Police Force Scholarship recipients. It's one of the most prestigious awards awarded by the Public Service Commission. The Consumers Association of Singapore, or CASE, is calling for more protections for car-sharing users following a rise in complaints against such service providers. In the first half of this year alone, it has received 106 complaints, and this is more than twice the number of complaints it got in the whole of 2020. Getting billed for existing defects in cars, being overcharged for repairs, or having charges deducted from credit cards without consent. These are common complaints reported by users of shared car services. To reduce disputes, CASE says car-sharing companies should be more transparent about their terms and conditions. They should also establish a clear dispute resolution process. But one car-sharing company says that it is not always easy to deal with disagreements.
It also depends on whether do we have the full information of the accident case or the dispute case. Some of them involve third party. So if we don't have the full picture from the third party, we also have to wait for the third party to come back to us.
CASE is also calling for a compulsory maintenance regime for shared cars. And this could take place every 3 months, for example, and will ensure that cars are in good condition. It adds that consumers can take steps to protect themselves.
They should make sure to carefully read and understand the terms and conditions of the hire agreement. And consumers should also use the company's checklist to inspect the car for damages and to report any issues promptly so as to avoid being held responsible for pre-existing problems.
And coming up on News Tonight, improving the quality of care for seniors in nursing homes, tell you why technology plays a key role. Plus, age is nothing but a number for these Team Singapore paddlers as they look to make their mark at the Asian Games next month.
Weather Report brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric.
Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong will be delivering his...
9 in 10 Singaporeans see the need to put the nation before self. That's according to findings from a survey by the People's Action Party's Policy Forum. The poll received about 1,500 valid responses. These results were published ahead of an inaugural dialogue series, which will also commemorate the 100th birthday of founding Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. The survey questions were based on speeches made by Mr. Lee. Respondents were shown quotes by Mr. Lee like these before they proceeded to answer the questions. Now, on prioritizing national interests and valuing unity, about 8 in 10 were at least moderately confident that such values were being upheld. Among them, younger Singaporeans were less confident. Meanwhile, 9 in 10 felt it remained important that Singapore is able to accept painful adjustments and adapt for future success. However, only around 8 in 10 are at least moderately confident that Singapore has the capacity to do so, and the bulk of them are business owners and entrepreneurs compared to students and employees. The number of SMEs that participated in Skills Future Singapore-funded training doubled to 19,000 last year from 2020. Close to 100,000 SME employees benefited in 2022. And these were announced at the inaugural Skills Future SME Conference. There are several new initiatives. For one, Singapore's largest tech trade association, SG Tech, will work with 30 firms on the development of generative AI to reskill and upskill workers. By the end of the year, those in human resources can also use Skills Future credit to pursue professional certification.
A strong culture of skills upgrading at the workplace, the adoption of skills-based hiring and employment practices is key. I encourage our SMEs to consider making similar shifts. In the hiring process, factor in the skills of the candidate instead of focusing only on past academic qualifications and job titles. In career development, think about how to better recognize and reward based on skills.
From robots that deliver bed sheets to smart glasses that allow nurses to transmit what they see, nursing homes here are doubling down on new technology. These innovations are saving caregivers time, allowing them to give more attention to the elderly under their care.
AGV moving. Please give way.
A new assistant has started making rounds at the NTUC Health Nursing Home. One that never gets tired and is capable of carrying loads of up to 180 kilograms. Piloted at their Chai Chi branch, this self-guiding robot helped the home save more than 4,000 man-hours last year. NTUC Health aims to fully roll out these robots across more branches by 2024. Without them, nurses have to carry more than 70 bags of dirty and clean linen to over 7 levels of wards each day.
The clean linens, we need to go down to level 1 to collect from the laundry, and it's very difficult and it's very many, bringing up and down, also tiring. This helps us more, I should say. We could give more extra time to our residents.
At the Rense Nursing Home at Ang Mo Kio, geofencing is able to locate seniors with dementia in the event that they get lost within the 10-story building.
The smart geofencing works in the way that when a resident with the RFID tag sewn into their both sleeves pass by the RFID reader, the system will trigger the alarm. Yeah, so when the alarm triggers, it will notify our care staff and the security guard. The tablet in the household will also show the location of the residents.
With the system, workers are able to find wandering seniors within 10 minutes, compared to 2 hours without. Technological innovation is also enabling nurses to provide better medical care. The Rense Nursing Home is also piloting the use of smart glasses for nurses. When nurses visit elderly at home, they sometimes have to provide medical services such as cleaning wounds, and sometimes they need to consult more senior nurses for help. They do this by sending photos via messaging applications. With these smart glasses, nurses are able to transmit what they see to a more experienced medical professional. Nurses can then receive real-time advice on what to do. Currently, most technologies made for seniors have to be imported from overseas, which can be expensive. But an expert says that the number of local businesses that develop tech for the elderly is set to grow.
So as people get trained and they get more aware of the challenges and as the market size grows, we would definitely expect more companies to come in, more companies to be started to look into all these areas of tech development to address the gaps in this silver economy.
According to Dr. Carr, some upcoming trends in elder care technology include applications to address social isolation and depression, as well as tech that enables exercise.
Singapore will be fielding a young table tennis team at the upcoming Asian Games. All but Clarence Chu will be making their debuts when they go up against some world-class players in Hangzhou at the end of next month. The team has an average age of 22. Zheng Jian will lead the women's, while Chu will head the men's. And they will be going to the Czech Republic and then South Korea for 2 lead-up tournaments, as well as training before going on to China.
The Asian Games is a very high-standard competition, so there will definitely be a lot of tough matches. Personally, as someone who has experienced it before, I will try to guide my team, tell them to not feel that nervous especially when experiencing such a big event. and yeah, not to be overwhelmed by the occasion and just to focus on playing our game and to put on a good performance.
No medal targets have been set, but the Singapore Table Tennis Association is hoping for the players to pick up valuable experience ahead of next year's Olympic Games.
I just hope that at every game, all of them will do their best and get as many points as possible. Hopefully enter all the way into the semi-finals, at least, I hope, and have a chance to fight for a medal.
And that's News Tonight. Join us again tomorrow. Have a good evening.
This program is available on demand for free